All right, we're going to go kind of fast, kind of slow. We've got a lot to talk about, so I don't want to overwhelm you with so many graphics that it confuses you, but I do want you to know that we do have a big and serious storm system on the way. And I thought I would start out by showing you the 5-day forecast, and then we'll end with that as well. But this is to keep it simple so that you know exactly what's coming. You don't have to wait on it, okay? Because I do have a lot to talk about. So you may have noticed I've added an alert to the very top of this banner. Our friends at WDBJ gave me this idea. Whenever there's something to really key in on, there's room for maybe an alert here. And you see I've got major storm system Tuesday through Wednesday, and that's a red alert. That means take the action now. That this storm is on its way. We're getting part of it right now in the form of light rain. It's been raining for days actually, but nothing too heavy. However, that is going to prime us for when it does get heavy, maybe some problems down the road. Two facets of the system that we're worried about. The first is severe storms, high wind, whether it could be straight line winds. Those are winds that do not rotate, but there's also the potential for rotation. The second is flooding, and I think the second is a definite possibility for our area, flooding by Wednesday morning. The first is going to be kind of isolated, but we'll get to all that. Okay, so today, just more of what we had Sunday, just some light rain out there, some mist and drizzle. Temperatures do start to rise back to 63 today. Today is the day to kind of prepare yourself. If you want flashlights, or if you have that safe place in your home, clean that out, figure out where you want to go. If there should there be a tornado warning or something like that, and this would happen more than likely late Tuesday and the Wednesday. You can see it here on our map. 74 Tuesday. Most of Tuesday's relatively quiet, but it does warm up and it gets unstable, so that by Tuesday night and Tuesday throughout the night Tuesday, going into Wednesday, not just one round, but several rounds. And I couldn't believe this when I looked at it over the weekend. Several rounds of storms, all of which could be severe. Okay, we're talking high winds, no hail with this, but high winds, some very heavy rainfall. And the system's so big, it's going to take most of Wednesday to get it through here. So we don't have a system that normally, when it's really strong, it only lasts a few hours and it's out of here and it's said and done. This is going to take a while. This is a big multi-day severe weather outbreak that's going to affect much of the country, and then it gets right over us. We're not just like on the edge of it, but by Wednesday we're in it. And that's the concern. So you can see here, that's what we're worried about. And then by the time we go into Thursday and Friday, it clears back out. But yeah, flooding, rain, and a lot of wind, especially in the mountaintops, and that could get mixed down to the ground very easily. Okay, let's go ahead and just jump into it. If there's one thing, I tried to look last night for one thing that could get us out of this mess. And if there's one thing that could block us, is if the cool air that you see kind of entrenched here, you see these 50s in Roanoke right now, but you see how the South Carolina area is in the 60s, 61 Charlotte. This is what we call a cold air wedge. Remember how cool and damp it was yesterday? That gets stuck east of the mountains, and sometimes it's hard to move. Even when a big storm system comes in, it can be hard to move that. And cool air kills storms. So if there's any hope, if you're the football game down by football team that's down by 8 points, and you know the time's running out and the other team's got the ball, you're hoping for the fumble and the touchdown recovery and the 2-point conversion, enough to just get you into overtime where you might just win this thing. That's the kind of odds we're looking at. All that would have to happen virtually in the weather world, just to give you an idea. It can happen, but so can winning the lottery. But I did want to kind of bring that up. All right, now currently this is what we got going on, and the high pressure that would hold that wedge in place is moving away. So yes, the warm air already, we're losing hope on that football game. The warm air is coming in, but the storm is still organizing off to the west. We've got some sporadic rain shower activity, but most of it's still out here in the heartland right now. And you know I've got a lot to talk about when I've got the clipboard. Mid-Atlantic radar shows more of the same. The rain gets heavier here as we show you our next graphic. You can see that we've just got some light stuff coming out of North Carolina and the West Virginia. Look at how heavy all of a sudden this gets. And by the way, this is just the front edge of this thing. Through parts of Kentucky and the parts of Tennessee. So we've got a lot of moisture heading our way. We've already had, again, several days of it around the area. Here's the national radar picture, and this really gives you an idea of the storm system developing. This is the heart of it right here, coming out of Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas. All right, so there's this huge ball of energy. We are way over here, and there's moisture well out in advance of the system. This is all going to combine. It's all going to combine and create this huge system that takes about 60 hours to get through our area. And again, we're kind of in the thick of it, concerned with the rain being heavy and concerned with those nasty storms as well. And to emphasize, I mean, it's not going to be like a tornado outbreak. Not everybody's going to see it, but 1 or 2 communities could see it. And that's enough in our area to cause concern. Now, this is a closer look at what the core of the energy right now. You can already see some severe weather, tornado watches, and severe thunderstorm watches through Arkansas and Oklahoma. This is the main part of the energy that we'll get here. And again, this is the satellite picture radar with the lightning kind of superimposed here, national picture, just to give you an idea as we go back to our next graphic. And you can see how the clouds take up a lot of the country. The red, these are all lightning strikes. So there's a lot of thunderstorm activity occurring, and these storms will get closer to us as we go through time. Now look at this map, and I'll show you what the jet stream's doing. And you'll see the correlation right there. This is tonight. By this evening, that front in the storm system slowly working through the Gulf. I've got a friend in Mobile, Alabama. I told her, tonight, y'all need to worry about this. So it won't just be our area, but all over the country. And then this red line, that's the warm front. That's the cold air retreating, and the warm air that's very buoyant, that creates the storms, hey, that comes in to replace it. Okay, so later tonight, the air actually may start to get warmer by Tuesday. We'll be back into the 70s again, and that's why I'm worried about it. Now, this is the map I was telling you about, and this is kind of the stuff I look at, but what I want to do is kind of bring it home for you. Okay, Virginia is right here. This is about 18,000 feet up. We look for the colored areas because that's where the air is turning. That's where the jet stream is dipping. If you know anything about the jet stream, when it dips, it gets active. It's already active right now over Texas, right? You just saw that. What happens within 60 hours is it dips so much, it closes completely off. So it's disconnected from itself, okay? And when it does that, there it is again. This is right now, and then 60 hours. It moves very little. It goes from Texas to Kentucky over a 60-hour time frame. And with it cut off like that, that rain that we get is not going to move. That front's going to stall, and we're going to see, that's why we're going to see numerous rounds of storms, numerous inches of rain possible from the system as that jet stream just kind of sits there like that. It also sets up the wind to turn with height. That's called wind shear. And what that means, if I'm standing here on the ground and I'm looking at you and the wind's blowing toward you, that's all well and good. But up in the upper layer where the airplanes fly, the wind could be coming in a different direction. So it's going like this. And when you tap a thunderstorm into that, it starts to spin. And that's where you get tornadoes. And I want to show you, we've got things that we look at that measure that turning. And they're off the chart for our area later on tonight. So again, the expanse of the system in terms of time and space is incredible. This is today. So this whole area in yellow does not include our area today, but this whole area in yellow is under the gun for severe weather and flash flooding there in red. Tomorrow, Tuesday, things will start to get active, not necessarily in the morning, but I think the timing of this will be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll start to see some storms moving in. You can see how the Weather Service has that yellow area right across us. It gets right up to us by the evening. And then the red area for flash flooding is also there as well. And then by Wednesday, the red area is right on top of us. So severe weather, flooding, they're concerned for Virginia. They pinpointed this out here, and that front is just getting through the area by the middle of the day Wednesday. So it's going to take a long time, again, to move it on through here. Can't hardly see anything here, can you? But what this is the total amount of rain forecast on one of our high-resolution computer models. Smith Mountain Lake, you can see that, and that's going to be our point of reference. That's right here. So Franklin County is in this deep red, deep orange, and that correlates to about 3 inches of rain, 3.5 inches in some of the darker areas. That's on average. If we get some storms that tap into this, the amounts could be a little bit higher, but even that would cause some concern. So that's our concern with the rainfall. We are worried about that very much indeed. All right, what else do we have here? Future radar. You all understand this a little bit better. So a lot of rain coming, obviously. Here's Franklin County. This is Tuesday, 7 p.m. Like I said, this is the beginning of it right here, going through Wytheville, North Carolina. Yeah, all these reds here, these could be severe storms. These could be somewhat tornadic or at least some damaging wind going through the mountains. Now, as we go out in time, I have to widen out the view and switch computer models on you here, but this is about the same time period, different computer model showing the same thing. And then we've got a wider view. There's Virginia. You can see it covers up most of the eastern seaboard. Watch what happens as Kevin cycles through here. Tuesday night, middle of the night, a regeneration. A second or third line comes in here, and this one looks strong. Wednesday morning, still raining. Still that red right over the area. I've been doing this 20-some years. I've never seen a storm do this. This is crazy. And it takes until Wednesday evening until it finally pushes off, and even then it's just past Farmville. So this, like when I say it's crawling, it is. And usually when something does that, the first part of it is the strongest, then it gets progressively weaker. This is the opposite. It's going to get stronger into Wednesday. So that's a concern for us. All right, I believe we've got some of there it goes. You can see it kind of moving through the area. Now, if that wasn't enough to get you confused, this is why I want to show you the 5-day once again. Well, the fact is, with the storm this strong, the wind in general is going to be strong. So the mountaintops, Bald Knob, Blue Ridge Parkway, these are winds going into Tuesday night. And where you see the yellows and the reds, these are 50 to 65 mile per hour winds, sustained. So if you were to go to Mount Rogers or up on the Parkway, that will be blowing constantly. And even if you don't get a thunderstorm, if it rains hard enough, that wind will come down to the ground because the rain will drag it down to the ground, okay? We call that momentum transfer. So that's like a third element that's kind of hidden with this. High wind watch is already up for that for the mountains of North Carolina. All right, now very quickly, and this is, we're taking Meteorology 101 here, but when I talked about the wind turning with height, remember that? And if actually you take your hands right now and put a pencil in between them and move your hands at different directions, that pencil will spin. That's what creates the tornado. We measure that in terms of wind shear. It helps storms become organized. It's what separates your garden variety storm from the ones you see in Oklahoma. And when you see numbers like this and values like this over us, that means the threat is there for these storms to become supercells. Those are the ones that create the tornadoes, and I can tell you those are very high numbers. You can even tell that without being a meteorologist. You can see how much of the country is in blue. You get to Virginia, boom, we skip that and we get right to red. Okay, so that's the kind of thing we're looking at. This is the exact same thing. One thing in meteorology we can do is look at something about 50 different ways, but I just wanted to show you the closer view. This is Smith Mountain Lake, and this is Wednesday. This is called helicity. This is the amount of energy and the amount of turning of the wind, and it is, again, very high, so that puts us in a concerned level for Wednesday. As far as warm air is concerned and how buoyant the air is, it's not going to be very buoyant, but we are going to look for a little bit of buoyancy. And by that I mean, how warm and unstable is it going to be? Can we get the air to lift really quickly? Usually you want both of those in combination. This is going to be an event where you saw the shears off the chart. The dynamics are there. Physically, we're moving the air, but in terms of getting a little bit of help from temperature, it's not going to be all that impressive. So that's that map there. All right, now I think we're almost done. Yep, here we go, 5 days. So let's break it down again. Today, again, just the light rain, just the drizzle kind of stuff, but it won't help. I mean, we're going to get a lot of rain. So what falls today is just going to be added to on Tuesday into Wednesday. So it doesn't really get going until late Tuesday. So that means tomorrow in the lunchtime, you're still okay. It's by supper time where you need to start preparing for these storms to pop up. And again, these will start to rotate. And there will be some tornado warnings. Whether or not they actually verify, that's going to be, this area that's hard to get that to happen. But in terms of our scale of what we worry about, this is about as bad as it gets. So Tuesday night, all night long, we'll be under that threat. Wednesday, most of the day, morning especially, I'm worried about the storm threat, but by Wednesday morning too, our attention will turn to the rivers and the streams and the creeks, because by then we'll have at least 2 to 3 inches of rain on top of the severe storms. And so that'll be like, if you live in the low-lying area, you may at some point, have to evacuate that area, and then at a different time of the day have to worry about the threat for the wind and get away from the windows as well. And I've got all these safety tips on our webpage, on our Facebook page, and we're going to try some live streaming here coming up a little bit later on, and I'll be on cable12vine.com for that. So the 2 worst days, Tuesday, Wednesday, late Tuesday, all day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The good news is it clears out. We'll need that breather. It'll be a little bit breezy on Thursday, and for high school football Friday, it does look good, but that seems a long long way away right now because the storm is coming. And I was kind of hoping the models would have backed off this morning on this. I've looked at them. They're consistent. So it's another thing that we look at in the community. I'm on top of it. Cable 12's on top of it. We're going to keep you advised of the situation. And again, if you follow us on Facebook and on cable12yn.com, I just got this going last night. Praise God, because it did work. We're going to try live streaming. And what I'm going to be doing is I will be putting out posts like I normally do. But only this way you're going to be able to see me do it. You'll be able to see and hear me, and whatever's on the radar, you'll be able to see that live as it's happening. And as long as that storm's going on, I'll do that. It'll be kind of raw. It'll be kind of, won't be very pretty at times, but if you want the most up-to-date, right as it's happening information, you can watch that live stream on our webpage, and you can get it that way, okay? And so that's going to wrap it up for right now. Join us, I think, at 10 o'clock. We're going to do an experimental live stream to see if it's working. No reason to panic. We've been through bad storms before, but I do want to make you aware of it. So just be aware that this is a big one, and it's heading our way. But again, there's no reason to cause any significant alarm. If a warning's issued, that's the time to take action, and you'll know it. I'll put it out there for you, and not till Tuesday night, though, so we've got a little bit more time.